A very, very good morning to everyone and a very warm welcome to the press conference of the World Down Syndrome Congress 2015. I would like to start with this lovely quote that I read today morning when I was doing a little bit of research about the Down syndrome by Shan Angle. She said, "There is a plan and a purpose, a value to every life, no matter what, its location, age, gender and disability." I think that was a very apt thing when I read today morning when I was reading out about the Down syndrome and the whole Congress and going through the website of this particular organization that's putting this together. So, with no further ado, I would like to request all of our dignitaries to kindly join me on stage before I continue. Mr. Arvind Swami, who is here with us. Please join us on stage. Dr. Surekha. Like I said, a little bit about the research. I'm sure that all of the dignitaries are going to speak in detail about the Down syndrome, but the Down syndrome is one of the most common genetic birth disorders. It occurs when an individual has a full or a partial or extra copy of the chromosome 21. This additional genetic material alters the course of development and causes the characteristics associated with this. I'm sure that our dignitaries are going to speak a little further with Dr. Surekha. All of them are going to speak a little further about this particular Down syndrome. For that, I would first request or call upon Mr. Rahul, the son of Dr. Surekha Ramachandran and Mr. N. Ramachandran, a successful entrepreneur and also actively involved in a lot of causes including Down syndrome. Sister Babli, who's here with us, is a person with DS, and his experiences with her have made him a determined advocate for the cause of delinking Down syndrome from intellectual disability. I would like to call upon Mr. Rahul now to address the gathering. Please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. For Mr.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. I stand here as the very proud son of a crusader, my mother, Dr. Surekha Ramachandran, as well as a very proud brother to Babli. And the work that we've done in creating this Congress over the last 18 months is the only way I can show them that I truly love them and honor the work that they've done over the last 35 years. So, just to take you through a little bit about what we've done in terms of creating this Congress, if you bear with me for about 7 minutes, I'll take you through that quite quickly. So, what will I be taking you through today? A brief history of Down syndrome. What is Down syndrome? About the World Down Syndrome Congress. What have we done in terms of activities for the Down Syndrome Congress 2015, and some novel initiatives that we have created for the Congress itself. So, Down syndrome is named after Dr. Langdon Down. In 1866, he was the first to describe the disorder. Dr. Down, at that time, could not correctly identify the causes for the disorder, and it was only in 1959 that scientists discovered the genetic origin of Down syndrome. Down syndrome is one of the most common genetic birth disorders. The human body has 23 pairs of chromosomes, and individuals with Down syndrome, as our MC has explained, have an extra 21st chromosome. So it's 3 chromosomes instead of 2. So in order to create worldwide awareness and support for people with this medical condition, Down Syndrome International conducts the World Down Syndrome Congress once every 3 years in coordination with the host country. It is with the efforts of my mother, Dr. Surekha, that the prestigious World Down Syndrome Congress 2015 is being organized in Chennai in the year 2015. The government support that we have received has been stupendous. We've received clearances from the Ministry of External Affairs, the Ministry of Home Affairs, and the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. We would also like to thank, obviously, the government of Tamil Nadu for supporting the cause in running the event in Chennai. The theme of the event is the Panchatattvas, the 5 truths about people with Down syndrome, and the objective of the event is to bring about transformation in the following areas in order to help people with Down syndrome lead as normal lives as possible: social awareness and self-determination, health, education and employment, support system, rights and the law for people with Down syndrome. We've also created a movie which will be screened a little bit later called Indelible, which is the winner of the year's Asia Pacific New Documentary Award for 2014 and talks about how this transformation is possible in the lives of people with Down syndrome. The schedule of events for the Congress is on the 17th of August. We have the AGM of the Down Syndrome International. On the 18th of August, We have two concurrent programs. One is the Panchayat, which is the self-advocate program for people with Down syndrome. And it is one of the most important events in the entire Congress. It is where persons with Down syndrome will congregate in a session to talk about what their needs are, what they want from society, how they want to be integrated with society, how they want to be approached, dealt with. And I think for us, as the people who support the person with Down syndrome, it is extremely important to listen to the voice of the person with Down syndrome if we are going to be able to change in order to integrate them with mainstream society. Running parallelly, we also have the pre-Congress Medical Symposium, which is a session for medical and wellness professionals. From the 19th to the 21st, we have the main Congress. We will be having keynote addresses by eminent speakers, paper presentations, poster presentations, Q&A sessions, a parallel workshop for persons with Down syndrome alone, movies on life for persons with Down syndrome, and panel discussions. The presentations based on the Panchatattva themes. We have Dr. S. Suresh, pioneer in ultrasound and fetal medicine in India, is the chair of the review committee. He is here with us today. Thank you, Dr. Suresh. We've received a total of 114 abstracts and 53 oral, and I think 54 presentations are going to be made during the period of the Congress. We've also got an astounding 498 registrations from across the world. 180 Indian participants, and we have 38 countries represented at this Congress. And there are 3 concurrent sessions planned, 2 scientific concurrent sessions and 1 program for persons with Down syndrome. Also, to encourage more participation from India, a 50% discount on registration fees has been offered to limited participants, and we also try to create through our website where we were able to bring donors on board for persons who wanted to participate in the Congress. The venue for the Congress is at the ITC Grand Chola. It has impressive facilities and has a track record of hosting large international format events. They have a huge room inventory because obviously moving people back and forth from the event venue causes a logistical nightmare sometimes, and we wanted to co-locate as many people as possible at the venue. And it is located in the heart of the city and has easy access to the city as well as the airport. ITC Grand Chola has also graciously accepted to be the venue partners for the World Down Syndrome Congress 2015, and we'd like to thank them for their participation. Our airline partner Jet Airways were one of the first sponsors to come on board, and we'd really like to thank them for their support. They've offered special fares for all the delegates attending the World Down Syndrome Congress 2015. They've provided discounts on fares, and they've published articles in their Jetwings in-flight magazine on a month-by-month basis for the last 18 months or so. So we'd like to thank them for their support, and they probably will have some volunteers at the event as well. Dignitaries at the event, we have Shri Tawar Chand Gehlot, Union Minister for Social Justice and Empowerment, which is the nodal ministry for Down Syndrome Associations, Mr. Love Verma, IAS Secretary, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Mr. Awasthi, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Mr. Gurumurthy, eminent chartered accountant and member of Advisory Board of Vivekananda International Foundation and a social activist, Mr. Bharat Joshi, British Deputy High Commissioner, and obviously Mr. Arvind Swamy, noted actor and entrepreneur. We have as the chief guest for the Panchayat, Mr. Nasimuddin from the Government of Tamil Nadu, Department of Disability. So, what have we done over the last 18 months? We've organized a curtain raiser in Delhi on the 6th of September 2014, organized and a national conference on Down syndrome at Calicut on February 22nd, 2015, and these were pre-events that we conducted to raise awareness about the Down Syndrome Congress 2015. The government was ably represented at both these events by representatives of the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment and the Kerala State Government respectively. We also had various sister organizations across India obviously promoting the event through the course of the last 12 months, and we've also tied up with the Indian Academy of Pediatrics. We've had a social media campaign on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and we've reached over 2 million people across the social media platforms. Some novel initiatives for the Congress itself. We have a Go Green initiative to reduce carbon footprint. And we're going to be planting trees, we're going to be providing reusable water bottles and bubble top canisters at the venue itself. We're creating a medical passport for people with Down syndrome, and the intention of creating this medical passport is to be able to put together a compendium of all clinical and psychological aspects, and Dr. Suresh will speak more about that a little bit later, that people can take back, or representatives can take back to their respective countries so that they can present it to their governments in terms of what changes they need to make within their own countries. We also have a panel discussion on the closing day as a maiden effort on the topic of health insurance for people with Down syndrome, difficulties and suggested solutions, and the intention of that is for the insurance sector to wake up and to cover persons with Down syndrome under insurance. We've also created an anthem for the Congress, sung by Mr. Shankar Mahadevan, and it's come out fantastically, and you'll hear it a little bit later, and it's called Shine, and it's dedicated to every person with Down syndrome across the world.
I don't like the word crusader, because I think if you are a mother, you will definitely try to protect your child. And that's all I did. I needed for my daughter to be recognized as a person first. I don't think anyone in this room would like it if any doctor looked at your child and said, it was a waste. And that's what exactly in 81, every doctor I went to turned around and said, put her away in an institution. She is visually handicapped. She has multiple problems. She's only going to be a terrible, terrible nuisance in your life. And I turned around and said, does that woman look like a nuisance? That woman, look at her. She's sitting there looking at me and saying, stop doing this. I'm the best thing in the world. But honestly, I think all I have done in my life is to travel and empower mothers. I tell you, the parents, I just got a call just before I came into this hall, which said, can you take up my child for adoption? நான் இங்கே ட்ரிச்சிலிருந்து பேசிட்டு இருக்கேன். என்னோட குழந்தை 20 நாள்மா என்னால் ஹேண்டில் பண்ண முடியாது. I am feeling so depressed. எனக்கு வந்து சொசைட்டியில் என்ன சொல்வாங்கன்னு எனக்கு தெரியாது. I only asked her one question. யாருமா இந்த சொசைட்டி? உனக்கு தைரியம் இருக்கா? எனக்கு I want to keep the child but I'm scared. My husband's left me. But he didn't leave me because of this, he left me much earlier. But I said that the strength you have today is all that you can do to raise this child. It's not about having other things. She said, no, will I need to have extra money? Will I need to raise the child with some separate funds? I said, stop worrying. We will help you with everything that we think we can do. But I just want to tell you people that people with Down syndrome, though they have explained that they have an extra chromosome and they might have every medical angle against them, they are still survivors. I remember when they told me that she would not live, and most people believe that children with Down syndrome don't live beyond their teens. I have a person here with Down syndrome who's 70. Stand up, Revati. She's an amazing person. I mean, look at these women. They are ready and raring to go. Stand up here. They want to see you. Stand up. I mean, she's my best friend. I did her Shastra-Purti. My point is that they want everything the way we want it, but we have already written them off, and that's what they did. For years and years and years, the medical professions turned around and said nothing can be done. I think they were threatened. It all happened because we started teaching them. And I learned through my daughter, and they have started learning from us. So as I traveled, I realized that we were no less inferior to anyone in the world. And since we have 1 in every 800 people born with Down syndrome, which Dr. Suresh will talk about, I want to tell you that the number of people that are born with Down syndrome in India today states that we have about 23,000 people with Down syndrome every year. So you can keep doing your ultrasounds and your scanning and your screening, and I'm still seeing people with Down syndrome. So we got to help them. That is when I realized that unless we bring the best people in this world who are doing research, who are improving the quality of life of people with Down syndrome, Chennai is the best place. And if any of you can tell me why we chose Chennai, the press writes mostly about this. It's about the fact that we are the #1 in medical And in people, looking after people, I think no other place in India can beat Chennai. Am I right? Chennai number one idea. Yes. They are saying yes, the rest of you are not saying it. Okay, it doesn't matter. But I honestly believe that our people in Chennai have the heart and they reach out. And this is why we brought it to Chennai. And I am not talking about my becoming the president. And I will not say that we have become presidents. We are only working for a cause because it happened to me. And I don't want anybody to ever feel that their child is not accepted in society. We're talking about children. We're talking about children struggling in schools. We want inclusive education. We want them in society. We want them to be seen. We don't want to be ashamed of our children. They have a right to live and they have a right to say what they want to. That is what our entire program in this particular Congress is going to be. Self-advocates who can stand up and say, I have a right to live. I have a right to get your medical treatment. I have a right. In every way, such way, can you people help us to reach that goal? That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Today, we know that the first 3 months of pregnancy is very vital. A lot of information can be gathered during the first 3 months of pregnancy, which typically we call the 11 to 14 weeks. Then the 5th month of pregnancy, we do another ultrasound scan. And then subsequently, we just follow up till the time of delivery, making sure the baby is growing well, making sure the baby is structurally all right and otherwise all right. So this prenatal screening, what do we actually look for is, one is we look for whether potentially the baby could be having a chromosomal problem, or whether it's a structural defect, or whether the woman is likely to develop high blood pressure during pregnancy which can cause harm to the pregnancy, or whether a woman can have premature delivery. We can find out by doing certain things. We can say you are probably at risk for a premature delivery. We can take adequate steps both to save the mother and to the child, because the mother develops hypertension, there is a small risk to her too. So this is what actually prenatal testing is all about. So when we do screening, we just identify, we do some testing for every pregnant woman who comes. And we say so-and-so is, as compared to the other persons in the population, you are slightly at a higher risk of having a particular problem. It could be any problem which we have listed. So for Down syndrome, we have certain risks. One of the important things is, if a mother is pregnant, a mother who's 23-year-old who's pregnant, and a mother who's 36-year-old or 37-year-old who's pregnant, the risk for having a baby with Down syndrome actually increases. As the mother's age, basically what happens is the egg which mother produces splits into two, and the chromosome split into two as 23 and 23, and 23 is passed on to the offspring, 23 from the father comes, totally there are 46 chromosomes. Sometimes what happens is, during the splitting of the mother's egg, it becomes 22 and 24. So the 24 is passed down from the mother and 23 is passed from the father. So totally 47 chromosome results, which is the condition we call as Down syndrome. So we do various methods. As I said, in the first 3 months of pregnancy, we do an ultrasound, and along with that a biochemical test, and this together will help us to identify whether a person is at risk for Down syndrome or not. Now, the incidence of Down syndrome is about 1 in 800 to 1 in 1000 in the population. So India has 25 million births per year. So you can extrapolate and see potentially how many persons with Down syndrome will be born. So it is our social responsibility to ensure that these people are given the best of medical care, and also to bring them into a social environment, where integrate them into the social environment as well as possible. And I think that's very important as part of our responsibility.
As we are now in the final few days prior to the official launch of the World Down Syndrome Congress 2015, our entire effort is focused on spreading information and awareness about Down syndrome through you, the media. On behalf of the organizing committee of the World Down Syndrome Congress 2015, I would like to thank each and every one of you present today. I would also like to thank the press for giving us the opportunity to talk to you today about Down syndrome, and how through WDSC 2015 we intend to spread awareness about it and hope to create the integration of persons with Down syndrome into mainstream society. I would like to thank Mr. Arvind Swamy who has consented to be the chief guest for the press meet at such short notice, and also to give away the WDSC Awards on the 19th of August 2015. He has been actively involved with the Down Syndrome Association of Tamil Nadu for many years, apart from many other social causes. Thank you, Mr. Swami, for your support, and more importantly, thank you for being a friend to the cause of Down syndrome.